Welcome to a very special episode of Three-Dimensional Dads. We have a guest, George Ajjan, also known as the Ajjancy, and we're going to talk about music and fatherhood and how the two intersect. So grab your axe, plug in, and turn it all the way up to 11. Or if you have kids and they're sleeping, put on headphones. We're cranking up the volume on this episode of Three-Dimensional Dads.
Discovering fatherhood in the next dimension.
I'm Jay.
I'm Derek.
And I'm Ian.
And I'm George.
And that's George.
Yeah, that's George.
Yeah, there we go. So welcome to Three-Dimensional Dad, George. We
Thank you for having me.
are geeks, we are dads, we are sci-fi people, but we're also nerds for music. We love I think we all love music.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the great thing about music. It oftentimes brings people together and brings dads together. So I know that Ian is our resident musical genius. So much of this is going to be him, kind of like leading us around by the horse collar here.
Okay.
Sure. So what led the three of us to start a podcast was talking about being dads. I mean, we had the geek stuff too that we loved, but a lot of it was we'd go out after movies, and half of it was about, Infinity War and Thanos. But the other half was like, we were all dealing with young kids in the house and talking about being dads. And we thought that dads don't have places to talk about that stuff enough to be able to address that and just, commiserate and talk with other people. And so that's what started the podcast. I saw parallels in the stuff that you do. It seems like you also had the same kind of feeling of like using your music to bring out fatherhood. And
yeah, absolutely. It's funny when you start, I started writing songs when I'd taken piano lessons as a kid. I learned enough of the music theory to be able to fake my way through. I played in a covers band at some point. But then, when I went to college and I got a guitar, I taught myself to play as badly as I played the piano just by learning the chords. But because I knew what chords went with what chords. Learned how to play the guitar with terrible technique, but it was enough to start writing songs. And, when you're 18, what do you write songs about? The girl you have a crush on and, all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And then, you're coming at it 25, 30 years later, and it's like, well, the love of your life is your kids. And you're writing much like you mentioned Cats in the Cradle, but the one that always sticks out to me is Time in a Bottle. Jim Croce writing that for his child. And so that becomes the dedication of love that inspires the music that's created. And so fatherhood became something that music became at the same time a dedication to, an escape from, and a celebration of fatherhood, because there's also times where it's just like, I need to just pick up my instrument and not have any kids around and not have anybody else around and just do my thing. And that's all part of it. Right. So it's a healthy expression. I think as we'll probably talk about, music always brings people together. It brings the dads and the kids together. It brings the family together. It brings friends together, and it's wonderful. And when I was going through thinking about what kind of podcast should I get on to talk about my music, I thought, well, there's a few of my songs that are explicitly about fatherhood. And so I looked at Fatherhood podcast, and then when I came across you guys, like, well, wait a second, but these guys are also musical people, so that was a perfect space. So I feel very much at home here. Talking about fatherhood, but in the context of music and with other people who are music hobbyists and have played music for many, many years and consider it something very near and dear to their hearts. So thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
sure. Yeah. Welcome.
Yeah.
I think that.
So, Ian, can I interrupt for a second? Something I think that you really said that touched me, George, was that, music can be one of those things that you escape the stress from everyday stuff. And I think that's one of the reasons why I went back to it and I picked up bass. Right. And I guess growing up in the education system, right, you were given the trumpet and you were given, everyone played Jingle Bells at Christmas time, right? Or you played the spring concert thing. I never thought of using, until I started taking bass lessons, music as a creative tool. I knew you always imagine it as oh, those people are geniuses, right? But you're right. Once you learn chords and things and you learn a couple things, you're like, oh, I could replicate this, or then you notice patterns and you could start creating your own sounds and stuff. And I think that's really awesome.
Absolutely. I remember being in sophomore year in my dorm room and a friend who was also a total Beatle freak. I remember showing him that Rocky Raccoon was just the same 4 chords over and over. And he was upset. He was really upset. It's like, this bothers me that it's that simple. I'm like, but that's why it's part of why it's great.
I mean, Pachelbel, or like, you know, you can play Pachelbel, right? And that's like every song ever written.
Right.
Right, G, D, E minor C, or just, you know, G, C, and D. You could
Yeah, the famous Axis of Awesome, you know, that video that's
Ah.
10 billion times. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So where are you musically right now, George? Like what is your, I mean, what today, thinking about your writing, your fatherhood stuff that's not fatherhood, where's your musical stuff today? And I'm sure when, you know, we get to the place where we kind of plug our various projects,
Right.
and tell a little bit about that, but like today, where are you musically?
Where I am today is trying to find time each and every day to promote the music that I'm currently releasing, because I spent a lot of time in the music studio over the past 3 years with studio pros, making good product with people that know how to do it professionally, and something that I'd be proud to put out there to the world. And now I'm going through the learning process of marketing it and trying to promote it, because we could talk about this for hours as well, but these days you can't just be a songwriter and a player. You also have to be a mixing engineer, a social media guru, a photographer, a video editor, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So trying to figure out all those things. Now, also, we're not teenagers anymore. So in our professional life, we've all done things that have enable us to learn skills that we can reapply to whatever musical ventures we have going on right now. So I've been lucky enough in my professional life to have learned how to use Photoshop, learned a bit about video editing, and enough to be dangerous enough. And with the tools you have these days, I mean, using CapCut, I mean, it's amazing what you can do if you spend an hour a day working on it, right?
Yes.
And that's, I mean, that's wonderful. And, people bemoan the way the music industry has changed and that the algorithm is so unfair. But at the same time, when we were all growing up, it was either you were going to get the lottery ticket and a record company was going to turn you into a star, or you would be a nobody forever, right? Nowadays, you can be a regular person like any of us who has music as a passion and can actually create something that of which you'll be proud, and you can send it out to the world. And if you spend enough time promoting it, maybe you'll get somewhere where enough people, you'll be able to touch people with it because more people will hear it. So that's what I'm working on right now, is trying to take the stuff that I've made and get it out to people. And it's hard because there's a lot to do.
And you're balancing fatherhood, you're balancing
I have
work
I have
and
2
stuff
kids,
like
I have a family, and I have work to pay all the bills for all this musical hobbyism. And so it's balancing all those things together for reasons that we said. The music is a celebration of that. It's an escape from all of that. It's all intermingled.
So obviously, music has been something that you had, from before you had kids to after you had kids.
Sure.
But obviously, the Three-Dimensional Dad is all about fatherhood. When you became a father, how did that change you as a person beyond your music?
Well, it's in fact one of the songs that I wrote about the experience was really dedicated to that first moment when my first son was placed in my arms. And look, as dads, we try to be cool. We have everything under control. We know how to go to IKEA and assemble the furniture. At the time, Bed Bath or Bye Bye Baby still existed.
Yeah.
So we know how to get all the stuff and make enough money to pay for all the things we need for the kid. But if we're honest, that moment when they put the first child in your arms, it was a mind blowing. What is this? Am I ready for this? Do I deserve this? Am I up to it? It was really a soul-searching moment, and it's facing the enormity of what it is to be a dad, beyond the checking the boxes stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And for the moms, there's a biological, instinctual component there, right? I mean, we're mammals, right?
Yeah.
Women are meant to do certain things with their anatomical features. We don't have that explicitly. And so you've got to figure out what your role is as a dad. Now, of course, there are all these social norms and all of that. We don't need to get into all of that. But, it's work to embrace that, because there's no biological imperative forcing you to be there taking care of the child. So it's something you've got to prioritize your time. You've got to learn the skills. You've got to be patient. You've got to pay attention and learn. And so all of that was something that I wasn't ready for at the time. And I think if a lot of dads are honest, they would probably admit, a lot of guys don't like to admit that, but I think a lot of guys would probably have to admit that, the first time it was, wow, what's going on here? Am I really ready for this?
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're really a father when your child is born.
Absolutely.
The mother is 9 months ahead of you.
She's got a head start.
She's got a way head start.
Big time.
yeah, that moment, I think, when they place the child in your arms and you're like, okay, all of a sudden I'm responsible for your human life.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a switch that can never be turned off.
Yeah.
Right? You always have that with
remember
you.
clearly, just, I mean, the newborns, like there's times when they'll seem like they're smiling at you or they're staring at you. And I'm just staring back saying, okay, I know what you mean to me. I know who you are to me. But do you have any idea who I am?
Right.
What this is all about? And it was that's what inspired came in for the inspiration for the music and for the creative part, was to channel that overwhelming, but at the same time intimidating and also joyful and amazing feeling and experience, all wrapped up into one.
So do you have like what's the relationship between your parenthood and your music and your parenthood? Like, is there kind of like a cyclical relationship there? Do you have like a kind of a back and forth with it? So how does music?
So what was it like before?
Yeah.
And then when you had your kids, how did it change you musically, I guess?
Yeah.
That would be something interesting. Yeah.
Well, I think me as a person and appreciating music, I mean, music was always there for me. It was always a passion. And then it was wonderful, waiting for the moment when they would be old enough to be able to do something with their hands and voice, right? So it was like, okay, what do you start with? You start with, as soon as they were old enough, the whole drumsticks and, beating the couch, and just, I wanted them to be surrounded by the opportunity to make music as soon as possible. And not to be one of those, crazy parents that's imposing on them to start piano lessons at age 2. And no, I'm not about any of that. We have to find balance as parents, whatever kind of activity, whether it's academic, social, athletic, creative, musical, artistic, whatever, to encourage and insist, because, they can't just sit on their iPads all day long. We have an obligation to oblige them to do certain things that are in their best interest, but at the same time, not force our own passions on them. So there's always that, like, okay, I love music so much, and my parents love music too, and so I learned from them. So it was kind of a continuity of the same thing, but of course had the idea that, well, I want them to learn how to play, and if we can play music together, I mean, that would be amazing.
That's the life goal.
Yes. So skipping ahead, we managed to do that. So what we would do is, there's 3-year gap between them. So the older one started taking drum. We got him the Ludwig Jr. kit, and he started taking drum lessons. Which is, by the way, anyone who wants their kids to learn drums, don't buy that garbage $75 toy drum. For $300, you can get the Ludwig. Well, it's probably a bit more, Mal. For like less than $400, you can easily get a proper Ludwig kit that will sound good. It will sound like real drums, okay, that a kid can sit behind and play. And it's wonderful. So the older one started taking drum lessons at probably age 6 or so. And he started with that. And at the end of his lesson each week, his little brother, who at the time was 3, would sit and just copy. He would sit for 10 minutes with the teacher and just kind of copy what his older brother was doing. And so, even a 3-year-old can learn to do a basic backbeat, right? Yeah. So at that point, I bought a, I'm not a super tall guy, so I bought a short scale Fender Mustang bass, thinking, okay, eventually I'll teach the older one just to pluck the roots on the bass, and I can play the guitar. The little one can hold the backbeat, and the other one can play the drums, and we can have the foundation of a band. And so what we ended up doing was, each year at Christmas time, we would take a Christmas song and make an arrangement that would work for the 3 of us. And that became like something that everybody looked forward to, on social and Facebook at the end of the year. When is George and George and Michael and Jude going to put out their Christmas video, which was so much fun to do. And these were like 90-second arrangements. These were not, 4-minute songs. And people would say, oh my God, this is so amazing that you're doing this. What a beautiful, joyful experience. And I'm like, yes, it's true. But guys, you are seeing the 90 seconds that was the culmination of days and days of, I quit this band. I hate this family. This is horrible. You didn't make him practice. He was out of time. All of that stuff.
Oh, God.
It goes into it. But, the end product was something so joyful. So it was wonderful to do that with them. We did that up until, I think this last year was the first year that we didn't do that anymore. But the kids are still doing music lessons. Cool. They're still keeping up with it. I drive them crazy with it. So I try not to get too nerdy about it. But you know what I'm sure you guys have noticed as well is that what's wonderful for us growing up with the music that we grew up with is that the kids know so much of the classic song. They know so much of the classic canon. I mean, I remember being in the car with my younger son and my niece, who's a year older than him, and Dream On, Aerosmith Dream On, you guys are Boston guys, right? Dream On came on the radio, and they were singing along to it. And I'm like, how the heck do you guys know Dream On? Like, well, it was on a game or it was on some video or something like that. I mean, they all know the bass line of Roundabout. You know, they all know the riff of Billie Jean. They all know the solo from Beat It. I mean, the kids know this stuff, which is great for us to be able to share with them and try to get them maybe a bit more into it. So I love that. I mean, I think it's, you know, we can complain about social media, but it does have its positive aspects in terms of exposing the kids to certain things.
It's funny. I have friends from back when I was in college, and what they always told me was that I can't imagine the type of music our kids are going to be listening to. And what they've found is that their kids are like listening to the same stuff that we listen to. And they're like, this is awesome. And they're like, wait, shouldn't you be introducing us to like the new music?
I mean, think about this, right? Like,
well,
Taylor Swift, right? My wife is a Swiftie. She's been to every tour.
Okay.
She got my daughter into being a Swiftie.
Right.
But my daughter will also listen to Ariana Grande. She'll listen to all these pop stars, and she loves it. But when she's in the car with me, I'll do this thing where I'll be like, okay, here's the Taylor Swift of the 80s, and I'll put on like Madonna.
Right.
Or I'll put on Whitney Houston.
Lauper. Okay.
And this is my daughter's face when the music comes on. She's like this. And she'll either say, I like this, or I don't like this.
Right.
And then I'll kind of like, I'll almost be her algorithm.
Yeah.
Right. And I'll play some stuff for her.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like my parents' music, it's the same. Like I bonded with my parents through music. They played all their stuff for me. But I feel like I'm playing all my parents' music for my kids.
Yeah. Right.
Like I'm not playing them a ton of 90s stuff. I do some, but I feel like a lot of it is the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
And like those bands that like my parents played for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
How many dance parties in the kitchen happen over like all of the Supremes or like just old disco?
Oh, yeah.
It's just like ABBA is like playing.
Yeah, I mean, because the thing is, you know, as parents, we look back at the nostalgia from our childhood, and for me, it's like you know that the lump in the throat moment is thinking about Abbey Road playing in the family room. At you know, it was my parents were you know super into oldies, but you know the Beatles, and you know, as a songwriter in the pop rock in the rock idiom, like the Beatles are just unescapable. It's just so they're so monumental.
Exactly.
Which is side note is challenging as somebody who's trying to figure out how to promote music, because when you're inspired by these old bands, people say, well, what kind of music do you make? And then they'll listen to it and say, oh, it sounds like the Beatles. I'm like, but that doesn't help me because it's sounds of me. I need to figure out who is out today that sounds like me. And that's a research project. And I still haven't cracked that yet. It's a big thing. And if you've talked to other people who are trying to make music in a contemporary way, you got to build yourself into the algorithm by making links with people who sound like you. And it's a lot of work. You got to listen to a lot of stuff.
So have the kids given you music to listen to? Like I'm sure at school they kind of hear all sorts of different things and they say like, hey dad, check this out. Like I didn't know I teach high school, but I sometimes be the old man and be like, you guys don't know music. Well, Olivia Rodrigo, right? Okay. My daughter heard it at a friend's house, and I never heard of her, and she played it for me. And I'm like, she is a great singer, and I love her range. I love what she sings.
Driver's license. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and my wife had got my daughter into country music. Okay. So like now we're sharing that with her. So like have your kids given you anything to like little here's some homework, Dad. Listen to this.
A bit, but it's more like they're making fun of the stuff that other kids are listening to.
Oh, okay.
But, you know,
that's even better.
Yeah. So, but yeah, they're getting their own taste. Like the older one's 14 now, and he came to me the other day, said, you know, can I get they're offering me 3 months free Spotify premium. You know, I want to be able to listen to whatever song that I want. Okay, sure. I need your email or I need your credit card or something like that. Okay. Go ahead. So, you know, all right, fine. I'll probably get the family plan after that or whatever. But, you know, that's good. I want to encourage him to be able to listen to whatever music he likes. And if I don't agree, like, you know, some of it is just, you know, that trap beat, you know, stuff that I'm not very enthusiastic about.
Yeah.
But that's fine. Well, they gotta find their own way as well. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
That balance is tough. Like we in our house, there's a couple of things that are constants though. We all know Queen, and we all love singing Queen. And sometimes when we're asking, where's our wife? We all go, Mama, and Leora goes, just killed a man. Like, because it'll just be like a reflex to her, right?
Scott, can I just make a point there? It's amazing how Queen, of all the classic bands, somehow Queen has transcended into the streaming world more strongly than any of those other classic bands. Maybe even to the level of the Beatles. Like in terms of streams, the other bands that were as big in the 70s and 80s are not as big as Queen with younger people.
I feel like they're in advertisements a lot. Like I feel like when you listen, you see ads, you hear Queen a lot.
Okay,
so I don't know. I just feel that way sometimes because like, oh yeah, I heard like Bohemian Rhapsody.
Bohemian Rhapsody is kind of an anthem
commercial or something.
Wayne's World, right? Wayne's World brought it back. I don't, Queen had that resurgence when Wayne's World come out.
You're really dating this, Jay.
I was gonna say,
I am. Listen, I am dating. We have.
By the way, that was the best moment in the biopic in the Queen in the film that came out a couple years ago. It was like Myers
doing the agent. Yeah.
Can't you have something that you can bang your head in the car to?
What song is bloody 6 minutes long? That was the irony was not lost on me. I love that. I love that stuff.
So I have a problem with drug commercials now, where like my kids know the Beatles mostly from from all these different drug commercials that are advertised.
Big Pharma.
Don't sing Ozempic, please.
I know. How are you doing? Or just the songs I'm hearing, like the first time that you hear, Here Comes the Sun, it can't be to somebody drugs.
Oh, I know.
I feel like I have to go play them the actual recordings.
Well, so
I felt a responsibility to play
absolutely
in my kids.
So is there? So I will say this: when I was a kid, my mom, in the '80s, The Big Chill. That was the one tape that was on constant rotation. So we got a lot of Temptation, stuff like that. So that was almost like an anthem for our house. Is there an agency anthem in your house? Like one song brings everyone together.
It's probably it's
a tough one.
Yeah, but it's also commingled with the fact that the kids and their mom actually performed background vocals on one of the tracks that I did. So
nice.
That has a special meaning for us. So the first album I did was an album of mashup covers. So I figured, okay, if I'm going to go, and before I bring my own songs into the studio, having never been in the studio before and knowing that things are going to go wrong the first time you go out and do something, I don't want to take things that I've been cherishing for 30 years, 25 years, and find out that they don't get realized quite to my satisfaction because I didn't know enough about the process. So I thought, let me go and do an album of covers first so that I can make the rookie mistakes using someone else's songs. But in order to do that, I thought, let me do mashup covers. Let me take songs and put them together in odd ways so that there's really a creative element to it as well. They're really my arrangements. And so I took the song How Bizarre, which we grew up with in the 90s. Every time I look around, same song as Teenage Wasteland. Oh yeah, it's only teen. It's the same song, same tempo, same chord progression. So I was at my cousin's house having breakfast over Christmas one couple years ago, and his wife's walking through the kitchen singing Every Time I Look Around, and I'm like, Teenage Wasteland. And so I just put them together, and so and then I transformed the rap part of that OMC How Bizarre song, and I made it a rap about mashing up songs and how it's actually technically it's illegal because you need to get permission from the copyright holders, and it became kind of a parody of the whole music industry. And my younger son doubled me on the rap of that, and then his mom and my cousin, I got the whole family involved.
That's fine. Oh, that's good. That's awesome.
That's kind of like the family anthem.
Nice.
I like that.
I was gonna get nerdy on mashups. So, I mean, you mentioned that they're in the same key and like the same progression. So, listening to all these different mashups, I'm an acapella arranger and an acapella nerd. And so, when you have these two songs, like, how do you decide, like, is one of them the main vehicle and the other one weaves its way in? Do you bring the keys closer together?
Well, yeah. I mean, sometimes you're lucky and then they're same key. I mean, the album that I did, I mean, Nothing Else Matters and Nights in White Satin. Moody Blues, 1967, and Black Album, 1991 that came out?
91.
And I remember even when that song came out, I'm like, this is the, you know, I mean, my stock phrase on that is anybody who's played the guitar for 15 minutes knows that nothing else matters than Nights of White Satin are basically the same song. I mean, even the tempo is really close. They're both in E minor. They're both in 6/8 time. And so when I did these mashups, it was usually trading off. Like the vocal line of one song goes on the backing track of, you know, the bass line. So when I did, for example, Billie Jean and Roundabout, which again, same chord progression, and two very iconic bass lines, arguably the most iconic bass line of the 70s and the most iconic bass line of the 80s.
True.
Right? So it's like the dun 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 with the acoustic guitar harmonics and the vocal melody Roundabout, and then the second verse, it's the thundering Rickenbacker bass line with the Billie Jean vocal on top of it. So I usually try to alternate them like that.
That's cool. That's cool. I mean, that's like some deep cuts musical knowledge. For me.
Jay was a mad scientist, like up in the middle of the night. And, you know, again, the technology helps because you can rip stems from places. And now, I mean, when I started doing this, they didn't have, like, now in the DAWs, you have the option to just strip out. Even in CapCut, you can strip out. It's amazing. True, video production software, you can strip out individual parts of the songs. So that helps because then, okay, even if they're in different keys, let me strip the vocal of this song, lower it to the same key as the other one, and then change the tempo because you got to match the tempo. And that became a template. And then because none of these are sampled, all of these are replayed. They're covers, right? So then I would go into the studio with the guys to say, okay, here's the template using these, you know, horribly tuned, out of tune vocals that sound like the Chipmunks because they're not in the right key. But that became a template for how we would actually record it.
Wow, that's cool. Well, we kind of have a tradition when we do interviews. It's kind of our lightning round thing before we kind of wrap up. All right.
Yep.
So we're going to ask a question. We're going to give you our 3 answers and you're going to like right off the cuff. All right. Okay. So number 1, what is your top musician or group that are essential to introduce to your kids for their musical education? Mine, Tom Petty. Love Tom Petty. I had the honor to see him live at an outdoor amphitheater. I love Tom Petty, everything about Tom Petty. Ian.
So I'm going to take the obvious one. I said Beatles for this one because every music theory class I took taught the Beatles. My whole music education, every class I learned was in relation to Beatles songs. So for my kids growing up in the car, I had to make sure that they knew all the big Beatles hits, you know, lullabies at night when I'm playing for bedtime, all Beatles songs. So also, as I learned guitar, that's just what I was playing. So Beatles was the one that I play most for my kids.
I had the Ramones just because of the energy, right? and just because I had a 3-year-old boy, and the first thing he got attached to was the Ramones, and it was just like one of those things. He jumped up and down on the couch. It was like just, I was like, yes, go do it. Like the fact that you don't have to be perfect, but you know, you just have that just a catchy tune, and it just hooked you, right? And it just got you to those tunes. So I said the Ramones.
George, you're number 1.
It's cliche, but I have to also agree with Ian and say the Beatles. And it's also because that's a continuity of me growing up with the Beatles with my parents. And that was such a wonderful gift that they gave to me, and that has guided me, carried me through. And so passing that on to my kids as well, because those songs have a lot of meaning to me. So yeah, it's cliche. Probably most people would say that if it would probably be the number 1 answer if it was on Family Feud. But yeah, I would be among that.
Well, for my kids, showing them the growth of the Beatles too, is that, you know, the first, you know, all the songs I'm playing that are "Ooh Girl, I Want to Hold Your Hand," girl. And then I'm singing "I Am the Walrus," like, Strawberry Fields, and they're like, "What did you just say, Dad?" I'm like, "I know, right?"
Listen, shout out to Ringo.
Someone pointed out recently, like, if you compared the timeline of the Beatles, like when the first COVID lockdown hit to today, it was like from like Beatles for Sale to White Album or something like that, like something crazy. And it's like, that's amazing that so much happened in that short span of a time. What they were able to do, you know.
Identity is totally changed to that band. My daughter does love Octopus's Garden because it's about an octopus. She thinks it's the funniest thing. All right, next lightning round question. What is the best song about fatherhood and parenting? Ian, start us off.
I have to say Cats in the Cradle. I mean, just when I first saw the question, I thought Cats in the Cradle. That's one where it's like from the son and the dad, and I think they grow up during the song too.
Oh yeah.
It's like, it's like you have their whole life within.
Well, I mean, the crushing moment is at the end, you know, when it's the role reversal. I mean, that's
Yeah. How do you beat that? It's a great
Yeah.
song. Great song.
It's like the
Derek.
country. Actually, with Kath Stevens too, but it's a song "Where Do the Children Play." It just reminds me of like watching your child like playing and like that growing up and like that kind of like loss of innocence. So that's mine.
That's beautiful. I'm going to go country because when I met my wife from Oklahoma, I started listening to country and now I can't stop. Leanne Womack, I Hope You Dance.
all right.
And my daughter's a dancer. She just had her recital. She was beautiful. And I Hope You Dance.
That was the song the kid's mom danced to at our wedding with her dad. For me, it would be, I think I mentioned this before, Jim Croce, Time in a Bottle.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I think largely because when I learned what that song was really about, and again, when we were growing up, to learn trivia about songs was an effort. It wasn't like, oh, let me just Google it or whatever. Let me just see some TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
You had to like practically go to the library and learn about music.
Right.
Reading all the liner notes.
Actually,
when I learned
liner notes. Yes.
not a sweet love song about a guy to a girl. This is a song about a dad who was so overwhelmed by the idea of becoming a father, and then, my God, to have, he wasn't long for this world after that, and so again, that hits pretty close to home.
And finally, here we go. And this is kind of our kind of moving into the entertainment wing of things. What is the best animated musical, Disney or other, or any musical? I'm going to add to that. My favorite musical is Les Mis, but as far as animated musical, it has to be for me Encanto, because the music is so fabulous. So fabulous. Let's go. George, why don't you hit us?
I mean, look, I grew up on the stage in high school and drama club. And that was the golden era of Les Mis, Miss Saigon, Phantom of the Opera, all that stuff. So like those are wonderful. But as far as animated goes, again, that era, I mean, Beauty and the Beast, the original animated Beauty and the Beast, the quality of the songwriting, I mean, even and the live action remake I thought was outstanding. And the way even they made embellishments to the score, that new song, Evermore, was just, what a brilliant, beautiful song. So I would go with Beauty and the Beast.
Ooh, Alan Menken, right? Was that a Menken one?
I think so.
Oh yeah, those are all good. Aladdin, yeah, it's hard to pick. I went with Nightmare Before Christmas. I love that Alan Menken stretch in the '90s, but Danny Elfman on Nightmare Before Christmas. How it's all minor, it's all creepy, and the melodies are like in a musical to never like Sweeney Todd. How they're all this and they're all these different keys and modes.
It's a good one.
That's brilliant. And Nightmare Before Christmas has so many things that are just awesome.
He's definitely
Here comes the Santa
music
Claus
nerd of the three.
Oh, he totally is.
Right.
Yeah,
He is.
sound.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
I know everything there is to know about Star Wars.
Okay.
Ian is like a music encyclopedia. You have a question, it comes up like that. He's faster than ChatGPT.
Okay.
Didn't you say that they would do this every year for Halloween? They do like a live like cast.
They do it the Hollywood Bowl.
The Hollywood Bowl.
Danny Elfman has all the original people come back and they do performances.
Wow.
And that is awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Yes, and Paul Rubens was one of those too. One of the Lock, Stock, and Barrel, the trio.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, and Catherine O'Hara too.
Yeah. Of course.
All right, Derek. So what's
I went
favorite?
with The Lion King. I was thinking of like epic animated. When you said animated, I was like, well, I mean, I think that is one is cemented just musically for the circle of life.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Who doesn't know that, right? I mean, and it's Elton John. I mean, come on.
The stage performance of Lion King.
That's another one
too.
I remember going to that. I remember going to that back in the 90s.
It yanked my heartstrings out. I love that. I love that. Great lightning round, everyone. And before we wrap up, George, can you please give us all your info for our listeners, where they can find you, where they can connect with you, where they can listen to your music? Just give us all the things.
Absolutely. So the Agency, spelled age like as a play on my last name, AJJANCY. So you can go to theagency.com or wherever music is streamed, Spotify. It's the handle for everything, Instagram, YouTube. If you check out on YouTube, you also see the mashups that we talked about, because those cannot be distributed on Spotify or elsewhere. YouTube.
Oh, gotcha.
Because of the way that licensing, YouTube has basically allowed an exception for that. So I was able to distribute those there. And there's some songs about fatherhood in there, which I'm sure all of the listeners of Three Dimensional Dads would enjoy, and love sharing the music with anyone. So please pay a visit. I'd be delighted to.
If you look below, everyone, we'll put all the links down there.
Thank you.
Everything down there. We'll load it up. George, thank you so much for coming and talking with us tonight. It's a great honor. I look forward to listening to more of your stuff and keeping this connection going.
Absolutely.
And for the Three-Dimensional Dads, I'm Jay.
I'm Derek.
I'm Ian.
And we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much, guys. It was great.
It was awesome.
And that's a wrap on our episode exploring music and fatherhood with our new friend, George Ajjan. A big thanks to him for taking some time to hang with us and share his amazing story and insights. Thank you so much to all of you listening or watching, and we'd love to hear what family tunes are big in your house, or your own experiences mixing melodies and fatherhood.
The next few episodes are going to be a blast. We're going to be reviewing Season 2 of Andor, and we're going to have our annual summer movie preview.
Check out our show notes for more info on George Ajjan and the Ajjancy's music. And as always, you can connect with us on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify at 3 Dimensional Dads, or email us at 3dimensionaldads@gmail.com.